Have you ever felt like there's uh, like a secret code to success? Something hidden in plain sight?
Yeah.
What if I told you that the code is literally inside your head?
Whoa. Okay.
So today,
That?
so today we're going to be going deep into the power of thought itself. We're going to
Yeah.
be guided by Warren Hilton's 1920 book, Applied Psychology, Driving Power of Thought.
Okay.
It's over a century old,
Wow.
but trust me, the stuff in here is mind-blowing and
Yeah.
surprisingly relevant even to today.
Yeah.
Um,
I think what's fascinating is that Hilton really breaks down like the mechanics of thinking
yeah.
in a way that helps you understand not just what you think, but why you think something.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
So we're constantly bombarded with sights and sounds and smells.
Right.
But it's our thoughts that give those sensations, meaning
Yeah.
it's not just about seeing, it's about understanding.
Exactly. And imagine
Yeah.
like a baby encountering a milk bottle for the first time.
Okay.
They see white, round, shiny,
Yeah.
but they don't have the concept of bottle yet.
There's just a bunch of random sensations at that point.
So how do they go from shiny thing to this gives me yummy milk?
Well, their little brains
Yeah.
start figuring out that something caused those sensations.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the beginning of understanding cause and effect.
Okay.
So Hilton calls these like causal judgments.
Okay.
The baby starts to grasp that the warmth, the sweet taste, the feeling of fullness are all linked to this thing we call a bottle.
Uh-huh. So it's like our minds are constantly trying to connect the dots.
Yes.
Figuring out what caused what.
And then it goes a step further.
Oh.
We don't just leave those sensations as separate dots.
Right.
We start grouping similar sensations together to form ideas.
So all the different sights, smells, tastes associated with coffee get bundled together into one complete idea of what coffee is.
That's it.
Okay.
We go from a jumble of sensory data
Yeah.
to organized ideas, which then become the building blocks for even more complex thinking.
Okay. So we've got these mental building blocks.
Yeah. But how do we decide which ones to use when?
Right.
It's not like we're just pulling random ideas out of thin air when we think, right?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Our thoughts are actually guided by these things called the prime laws of association.
Uh-huh.
There's 4 of them:
Okay.
habit, recency, contiguity, and vividness.
Ooh, that sounds intense. Break it down for me.
Okay, so essentially they dictate which thoughts are most likely to pop into your head
Okay.
based on how often you've experienced them, how recently, how closely they're related to other ideas, and how strong the emotional impact was.
Okay. I think I'm starting to see the pattern here.
Yeah.
Like why I always crave a certain burger joint when I'm starving.
Yes.
That's habit, right?
Exactly. It's what you're used to.
Yeah.
Or let's say you suddenly have a craving for a very specific brand of soda.
Okay.
Could be recency. Maybe you just saw an ad for it.
Or maybe I always get that soda at the movie theater.
Uh-huh.
So the ideas of soda and movies are linked in my mind.
There you go. That's contiguity. Closeness in space or time. Our brains are masters at making these connections.
Okay. That makes sense. But what about vividness?
Okay.
What does that mean in terms of thought?
Think of a really powerful memory, something that stuck with you.
Yeah.
It stays vivid because it was emotionally intense, right?
Right.
Maybe a joyous occasion or a moment of fear.
Yeah.
Those experiences create stronger associations in our minds.
So a really embarrassing moment in high school.
Exactly.
I'm probably going to remember that for a while.
And whether we realize it or not, these laws are constantly shaping our thoughts,
Okay.
influencing our decisions, and even shaping our reality.
Hold on. Our thoughts are shaping our reality.
Well, think about it. If you constantly focus on negative thoughts, fears, doubts,
Yeah.
what kind of reality are you creating for yourself?
Right.
Probably one filled with stress and limitations.
Okay. That's a bit unsettling, but I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But what if I flip that? If I focus on positive thoughts and visualize success, can I actually make good things happen?
That's where Hilton's concept of business passion comes in.
Okay.
It's about having a strong, positive, emotional connection to what you do.
Okay.
And it's not just some fluffy, feel-good idea.
Yeah.
He actually uses historical examples to show how this works.
All right. Give me the historical tea.
Well, he talks about Napoleon, for example.
Okay.
He believed that his soldiers' ardor, their passionate belief in their cause, was a major factor in their victories.
Wow.
He also talks about how a salesperson's confidence can directly translate into more sales.
So it's not just about going through the motion.
Right.
It's about actually believing in what you're doing.
Exactly.
And letting that passion fuel your action.
Exactly. And the science backs this up.
Okay.
We can actually train our minds
Yeah.
to associate positive emotions with our goals.
Okay.
This creates a powerful cycle. Positive thoughts lead to positive actions, which lead to positive outcomes,
Right.
which reinforce those positive thoughts.
Wait, so you're saying that if I want to be more confident,
Yeah.
I can actually work towards it by focusing on positive associations and visualizing success?
Precisely.
Wow.
It takes effort to build either a positive or a negative mental attitude.
Okay.
The choice is ours.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So our thoughts really do have a lot of power.
A lot of power.
But what if someone else tries to control our thoughts?
Oh.
Like, what about advertising? Are they using these laws against us?
That's a great question, and it leads us to something Hilton calls psychological engineering.
Okay.
Businesses have been studying these principles for a long time,
Right.
using scientific tests to measure mental abilities
Wow.
and predict employee performance.
So they're not just looking at resumes anymore.
Right.
They're actually testing people's minds.
It might sound a bit sci-fi,
Yeah.
but it's been happening for over a century.
Wow.
Hilton talks about a bicycle ball factory, for example. That boosted efficiency by testing workers' reaction times.
Reaction times for making bicycle balls.
Think about it.
Okay.
To inspect those tiny ball bearings for flaws,
Yeah.
you need incredibly fast and accurate perception.
Okay.
They weren't trying to weed people out.
Right.
They wanted to find the best fit for the job.
Okay, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about more complex jobs?
Okay.
Like, were there tests for those too?
Well, Hilton actually describes how a professor named Munsterberg
Okay.
developed groundbreaking tests for selecting telephone operators.
Wait, telephone operators? That doesn't seem very complex.
This was back when exchanges were manually operated.
Oh.
They needed operators with sharp minds,
Okay.
good memory, attention to detail, the ability to handle pressure.
So how do they test for that?
They used all sorts of things.
What?
Memory tests with long strings of numbers.
Wow.
Attention tests where they had to cross out specific letters in a newspaper.
Okay.
Even tests to assess their general intelligence.
Wow. I can't even imagine trying to remember 12 digits, let alone under pressure.
It's a lot.
So did it work?
Well,
Did the tests actually predict who would be a good operator?
the results were pretty remarkable.
Okay.
The women who aced those tests generally performed much better on the job.
Wow.
It showed that you could use these principles to match people with the right roles,
Uh-huh.
making them more successful and productive.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder about the potential for misuse.
Yeah.
Could these tests be used to unfairly discriminate against certain groups of people?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that any tool can be used for good or for bad.
All right.
We'll definitely delve deeper into the ethical considerations surrounding these techniques later on in our deep dive.
Okay.
For now, the key takeaway is that these principles exist,
Yeah.
and they have a profound impact on how we think, work, and interact with the world.
This has already been such a wild ride. It's like I'm seeing my own mind in a whole new light. I can't wait to see what other secrets we uncover as we dive deeper into this topic.
Stay tuned. We've only just scratched the surface of the power of thought.
So we've seen how these prime laws of association can influence like our everyday choices, like what we eat, what we buy, even where we choose to live.
Right.
But what about the bigger stuff, like learning a new skill
Yeah.
or like remembering a presentation? Can we actually use these laws to like hack our brains for better performance?
That's a great question, and the answer is yes,
Okay.
to a certain extent.
Okay.
Hilton gives us some clues on how to do just that.
Yeah.
For example, he suggests that we can actually make rote memorization easier
Uh-huh.
by using the law of contiguity.
Okay, remind me, contiguity is about closeness, right?
Exactly. So let's say you're trying to memorize a bunch of facts for a presentation.
Okay.
Instead of just repeating them over and over.
Yeah.
Try grouping related concepts together.
Okay.
By creating a link between the ideas,
Yeah.
you're making it easier for your mind to recall them as a unit.
So it's like creating a mental map of the information
Yes.
instead of just a jumbled list.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about organizing the information in a way that makes sense to your brain.
That makes a lot of sense. But what about learning a skill like playing an instrument or speaking a new language? Can these laws help with that too?
Absolutely. The law of habit is crucial here.
Habit, that's all about repetition, right? Practice makes perfect and all that.
Yes, but it's more nuanced than just mindlessly repeating the same thing.
Okay.
It's about deliberate and focused practice.
Oh.
Hilton uses the example of a pianist.
Yeah.
With enough practice, their fingers automatically move to the right keys,
Mm-hmm.
It's not conscious thought anymore.
Yeah.
The association between the note and the finger movement is deeply ingrained.
So that's like building muscle memory, but for your brain.
Exactly. And this applies to all sorts of skills, coding, painting, even public speaking.
Okay.
Consistent focused practice strengthens those neural pathways and makes the skill feel more automatic.
But what about those days when you're just not feeling it?
Right.
You're tired, unmotivated. The last thing you want to do is practice.
Yeah.
Does Hilton have any advice for those moments?
He does. He talks about the importance of what he calls conscious training.
Okay.
It's about actively choosing to focus on thoughts that generate positive emotions even when it's tough.
So like fake it till you make it.
Not quite. It's more about recognizing that we can actually influence our emotions with our thoughts.
Okay.
We have the power to choose which thoughts we dwell on.
Okay, I get that in theory, but how do you actually shift your mindset when you're feeling down?
Well, Hilton suggests a few techniques.
Okay.
One of which is visualization.
Okay.
Create vivid mental pictures of yourself achieving your goals,
Yeah.
experiencing the positive emotions that come with success.
So if I'm dreading a presentation,
Yeah.
I should imagine myself delivering it confidently with the audience applauding.
Exactly. By repeatedly visualizing that positive outcome,
Yeah.
you're creating a positive emotional association with the task, which helps counteract any negative feelings and boost your confidence.
I'm definitely going to try that, but what about the flip side?
Okay.
When you're feeling overly confident, even arrogant, can those emotions backfire?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hilton cautions against hubris and overconfidence.
Okay.
Success is often fleeting.
Yeah.
And a healthy dose of humility is essential for growth and learning.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot, confidence without arrogance, passion without burning out.
That's the key. Cultivate a mindset that's both driven and adaptable,
Yeah.
capable of handling challenges without losing sight of the bigger picture.
This deep dive is like a mental workout.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of which, we've talked about businesses using psychological tests.
Right.
But what about us? Can we use these principles to understand and improve our own thinking?
You absolutely can. While we can't provide specific tests here,
Okay.
we can explore the key areas these tests often focus on, areas you can become more aware of in your own thinking.
Okay, let's do it. What's first?
One of the most fundamental areas is attention.
Okay.
How well can you focus on a task even with distractions?
Yeah.
Are you easily sidetracked, or can you maintain laser focus?
Focus is definitely a struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially with all the notifications and distractions these days.
That's where the power of conscious training comes in.
Yep.
You can actually improve your attention span
Yeah.
by practicing focusing on a single task,
Okay.
gradually increasing the duration and complexity over time.
So set aside dedicated work time, turn off all notifications, and really focus on one thing at a time.
Exactly. You can even start with simple exercises.
Okay.
Like focusing on your breath for a few minutes each day. It's about building that mental muscle,
Okay.
just like you would train any other muscle.
Okay, that's attention. What's next?
Memory is another crucial area.
Okay.
How well do you retain information?
Yeah.
Are you good with names, facts, or abstract concepts?
I'm definitely a visual learner. I remember things better if I can see them or connect them to an image.
That's valuable insight.
Yeah.
It suggests you can leverage your visual strengths
Oh, yeah.
to improve your memory in other areas. If you're trying to remember a name, for instance,
Yeah.
try associating it with a memorable image or a rhyming phrase.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
I'm always forgetting names. What else is there?
Another area is associative thinking.
Okay.
Your ability to connect seemingly unrelated ideas and see patterns where others might not.
So like thinking outside the box.
Exactly. It's that spark of creativity that helps you find novel solutions to problems and see the world from a fresh perspective.
So we've got attention, memory, and associative thinking.
Right.
We're building a mental profile here. But how do I know if I'm actually good at these things?
There are formal tests, of course.
Yeah.
But you can also become more aware of your own thinking patterns in everyday life.
Like how?
Pay attention to your own thought process.
Okay.
When you're trying to remember something, what strategies do you use? When faced with a problem, how do you approach it?
So it's all about self-awareness.
Yeah.
Becoming more mindful of how our minds work.
That's the starting point. And the more we understand our own strengths and weaknesses, the better we can maximize our mental potential.
This deep dive has been truly enlightening. I'm starting to see the world and my own mind in a whole new light.
And we're not done yet in the next and final part.
Okay.
We'll explore how we can use this knowledge to live more fulfilling and successful lives.
Can't wait. This deep dive has given me a lot to think about already. Okay, so we've uncovered all these powerful laws of thought and how businesses have used them to assess potential employees. But where does this all leave us?
Right, right.
How could we use this knowledge to actually, like, improve our lives?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's really the heart of what Hilton's trying to convey in his book.
Yeah.
He wants us to understand that we're not just passive recipients of thoughts.
Mhm.
We have the power to shape them,
Right.
to cultivate the mental habits that lead to success and fulfillment.
So it's like we've been given this incredible tool,
Yeah,
but most of us don't even know how to use it.
exactly. And that's why understanding these principles is so important.
Yeah.
Once you know the rules of the game,
Right.
you can start playing it strategically.
Okay. I'm game. Where do we start?
Well, we've already talked about a few key areas as attention memory and associative thinking.
Right.
The first step is becoming more aware of your strengths and weaknesses in those areas.
Okay.
Notice how you think,
Uh-huh.
how you learn how you react to challenges.
But pay more attention to my own thoughts.
Yeah,
It's like becoming an observer of my own mind.
precisely. And once you've identified areas where you want to improve,
Yeah.
you can start consciously training your mind.
Okay, so let's say I struggle with focus.
Okay.
What kind of conscious training can I do?
There are many techniques, but one simple one is mindfulness meditation. Just a few minutes each day of focusing on your breath can help strengthen your attention muscle.
Okay.
You can also try setting aside dedicated work time, turning off all distractions, and really focusing on one task at a time.
So it's about building good habits, both mentally and behaviorally.
Absolutely. And remember, the more you practice these good habits, the stronger those neural pathways become.
Right.
And the easier it becomes to focus, to remember to think creatively.
This is really empowering stuff.
It is.
It's like I'm finally being given the keys to my own mental kingdom.
And with those keys comes a responsibility to use this knowledge wisely and ethically.
Yeah.
Remember, our thoughts have a profound impact on our actions, our relationships, and the world around us.
So it's not just about personal success. It's about using this power for good.
Exactly. Imagine a world where everyone understood these principles
Yeah.
and used them to cultivate a mindset of kindness, compassion, and understanding.
That's the world I want to live in. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. It's made me realize that my mind is a much more powerful tool than I ever imagined.
And that's the most important takeaway from this journey. Your mind is an incredible instrument capable of both extraordinary feats and self-sabotage.
Right.
By understanding its inner workings, by becoming aware of the laws that govern our thoughts, we can unlock its full potential and create a life that's aligned with our deepest values and aspirations.
This has been such an incredible journey. I feel like I've gained a whole new level of understanding about myself and the power of my own thoughts.
And I encourage you to keep exploring.
Yeah.
Don't stop questioning, experimenting, and pushing the boundaries of your own mental potential.
Go.
The journey of self-discovery is an ongoing one, and the more we learn about how our minds work,
Right.
the more empowered we become to create a life of meaning and purpose.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the power of thought. If you're curious to explore this topic further, we've got a list of resources on our website, including links to Warren Hilton's book, Applied Psychology, Driving Power of Thought. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Share your biggest takeaways with us on our social media channels. Until next time, keep those mental gears turning,